Hello, everybody. This is the Learn, Share, and Connect with OWIT International. And today we are very honored to have the chapter in Brussels talking to us. This is the OWIT New York chapter. And we also have a special guest, Nancy Ploger from the IWEC Foundation. We're very excited to be here and welcome everybody. So what we said is like, put all your information in the chat. Obviously, since I'm the host, I cannot look at everything. I'll be multitasking, I'm letting people in, but we said we would connect with you and also start a group, and maybe Jennifer can, whatever she said before was so beautiful. So maybe you just repeat yourself. So we also have it then on the YouTube channel.
Great. So the objective of putting your interest of being here today in the chat can be either just to have direct questions about the market, about your sector, about eventual contacts we might have that can help you develop your international activities, or simply to understand what are the trends in your market. And therefore, we invite you on the chat or on the YouTube channel, now that it's being published there, to put a way we can contact you or answer you back in the following days and weeks. And the topic that would be of your interest, or the questions you might have in between the locations where we are. Remember, there are 27 chapters of OWIT, so it does, if not all are present here, there might be some of the other chapters that are in regions where you would like to have some information, and then we will link you with the correct persons. This is what it's about.
This is what it's all about. And I'm gonna just kick off. I put a little presentation together so we can get to see what's it all about. Okay. So we want to welcome everybody. So it's OWIT in Brussels, a newly founded chapter, IWEC, the International Women Entrepreneur Challenge, right? So now I say it correctly, and the OWIT New York. So this is us. And obviously OWIT International is around the world. And we have our newly president, Frida Owinga. She is based in Nairobi, Kenya. And she said her vision is to have a chapter in every major city or every major country in the world. So they're working hard on that vision, and you can become a member today if you're interested. Students are for free. I think that's always something that they like to hear. And there is also a virtual chapter. So if there is no chapter where you are currently, you can also join the virtual chapter. And actually, we also invited them for a talk. And this is the OWIT International has been established in 1989. And obviously the Brussels chapter and the New York chapters, we are part of OWIT International. And if you are a chapter member, let's say of New York or Brussels, you automatically can listen and watch and enjoy also what's happening on the international level. So I think it's a really cool organization where you can network. And I certainly have been networking a lot. So my name is Suzanne Mueller. I'm the international rep for OWIT in New York, and I'm the host. I've been hosting a few events, and here we see our board. We don't have everybody with us, but I see we have Kathy, the president, with us. Karen is here. Michelle, she just moved. She sold her house, so she is on a well-deserved vacation. And we also have Caroline Desjardins with us, and she is in charge of partnerships. So she will give us something later on. And everybody is always happy and laughing on those slides. I like that. And what we have done so far is that this is the review of 2022. Half of the year has passed already. So in January, we had the opportunity to meet with Frida. I took advantage of inviting her for a talk, meet and greet with the new president. Then in March, I organized a cool event with 12+1 CEOs. I forgot I'm a CEO too. And we had 4 global panel discussions throughout the day. And then we started our Connect, Learn and Share series in March with the virtual chapter. And we also in May, we had the Ottawa chapter with us. And then in in April, Caroline and I took the train down to Washington, D.C. to meet finally in person other chapter sisters, and it was a lot of fun. And in between, we had a great event with the Women International Trade Partnership with WIT OC. OC is Orange County and also Nairobi. There we created a huge event of 2 hours. So many things are possible and many more things are coming. And I just want to share some pictures of the spring retreat. Obviously, we also want to have fun. And the lady on the very left in the blue shirt next to me is Julia Kurt. She is in Switzerland. She's originally from Turkey, and she was just nominated in Turkey, her home country, for a huge award. She is also a coach. So we also want to give a shout out to her. And one more thing that I want to highlight a little bit is the OWIT and the collaboration with WELTI. WELTI is the initiative Women Empowered Leave Legacy through Trade and Investment. So it's a huge acronym that they created, and it's Camille Richardson who is spearheading that. So hopefully we can hear much more from her, but she was in Washington, D.C. And now we are also very happy to have Nancy with us. Maybe Caroline, I'll stop sharing and then I give it over to Caroline, and you can give us an intro of Nancy and then we get started. So we hear from Nancy first, and then we hear from the Brussels chapter, and then we always open up for questions and answers, and also the participants can interact with each other. But make sure to put everything in the chat, and if you're not speaking, maybe put your mic on mute. Then I hand it over to Caroline.
Okay, terrific. Hi, everyone. So Nancy and I have not actually met in person yet. We're hoping that'll happen soon. It's all been so strange through COVID, right? And Suzanne and I going down to Washington, D.C. was phenomenal to actually meet some people in person, and to meet Frida coming from Nairobi. It was just an amazing group of international women. And that's been the really wonderful thing about OWIT, and now partnerships. I'm in charge of partnerships. I was doing what Suzanne was doing. I think she's a phenomenal international rep. She is an international woman living in Baja, from Switzerland, New York City. She's always on a plane. She was a flight attendant, I believe, for Swiss Air at one point in her career. So I can't think of anyone better for international representative. And for me, for partnerships, I've worked in the fashion industry for 25 years. And went back to school, did an MBA late in my career, and met some really amazing young people and collaborated a lot on the business side, whereas I was a fashion designer and now working on the business side, seeing the whole everything fit together in the supply chain. We had a meeting about supply chain the other day. And so we can't do it alone, right? So partnerships is really fun because we get to meet other organizations within New York and around the world where we can help one another brainstorm, collaborate, have think tanks, and really support one another. So Nancy has an amazing career. I will let her speak to what she does, and her foundation, which she started back in 2016, supports women business owners. They have an event coming up in Madrid, which is super exciting. She can speak to it much better than I can. So hoping we can get together in person at some point and really share some really good times together. So without any further hesitation, I'm going to invite Nancy to speak, and I will put myself on mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. It's great to see all of you this morning. I'm glad you joined us. Thanks so much for your time. It's really important, I think, for us all to continue our networking opportunities, and especially now take advantage of this new Zoom world that we have, where we can actually do that. I think if one good thing that's come out of the pandemic, it's the technology and the ability for all of us to connect globally to really further our businesses and develop friendships, as well as business partners and so forth. So glad you could join us this morning. So just a little bit about myself. I was the president of the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce for 21 years. And during that time in 2007, I was approached by Ambassador Ruth Davis, who is in Washington. And she brought a colleague from Barcelona who was representing the Barcelona Chamber. And they met with me and said, hey, look, we want to start this new program with the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, and Vicky Flo out of India. And we want to focus on supporting women-owned businesses. This was, again, back in 2007. We want to focus on not startups and not major corporations, but women in the middle, women who have at least 1.5 million in annual revenue, who have been in business for 3 years, who are running their companies, and who also own the majority of shares of their companies, and who have good corporate social responsibility programming in terms of paying back. So I said, well, that kind of sounds interesting. So we started this program, and what we decided was we were going to run the program under our 3 chambers, go out, recruit other chambers to be part of our network, recruit other women's organizations to be part of the network. And then after 5 years, if it looked like it was going to be of interest, then we would split it off and make it its own nonprofit entity based here in the States. So indeed, that's what we did. We were joined by the Cape Chamber in South Africa shortly after. Right now, we have 45 partners, chambers and women's business organizations, OWIT being one of them, just having come on with our network in the last couple of months. So the whole objective is to support women, and we do that in 4 ways. One is market intelligence. So say, for example, you're in Peru and you make mittens. You're thinking, okay, where else can I sell the mittens in the world? Aha, Scandinavia, it's really cold up there. They might need some mittens. So that we would put you in touch with our colleagues in Sweden, who would then talk to you, put you in touch with other women there who are on the ground, who are boots on the ground, corporations, information on the economics and so forth and so on. So you would get this inside market intelligence from boots on the ground, and not just going through Google or other methodologies. One of our prime example would be one of our past awardees who is in New Jersey. We put her in touch with someone in Indonesia because she was looking for new suppliers just after the pandemic. Her suppliers were from China, and obviously we had a lot of supply chain issues. So she was looking for new suppliers. She flew to Indonesia. She met with Poonam, who gave her all the information. I mean, real life, real time information to really help her not only understand and make connections of potential suppliers, but understand the logistics. What's it like to hire people there? What's it like to do this, blah, blah, blah. So she got all this inside intelligence straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So that's the kind of thing we do for market intelligence. The second way that we help is through education. We are actually an educational nonprofit organization. So every day I'm surfing the net, talking to our women in our network or chambers and getting information. So I post every day new articles in all of our social media, on our website that are relevant to women-owned businesses and different industries as well. And then the third way and of course we also have events. Once a month, we try to do events. This is the event we're doing this month with some of our partners. We did one in Russia in April, and we did one with the Global Chamber here in May. And every year we have an annual conference, and at that conference, obviously, we pick a theme, and then all the panels and keynote speakers focus on that theme. So that's another big part of our educational outlay. The third is connections. I don't think I have to explain what connections mean. And then the fourth is visibility. And by that, we mean that at our annual conference, every one of our partners, the chambers and the women's business groups, they nominate, or they choose, I shouldn't say nominate, they choose an awardee based on the criteria I mentioned before, the fact that women have grown their business by doing business globally, by being on the verge of doing business globally and ready and looking for support. So these awardees actually get a physical award. They're announced, their information is shared, and that's what we do at the annual conference as well. So we have now already honored since 2007, 460 women whose combined annual revenue is $41 billion. And they employ over 296,000 employees. So that's the other part of our major focus, is recognizing these women, connecting them. We have a very active WhatsApp group. There's a lot of happy birthday and look at all this great stuff, but there's also business that gets done through that as well. So our conference in Madrid, I'll wrap this up by just saying it's going to be on November 13th through the 15th. And we have our registration pages up. We have a couple of hotels that are offering special rates. We have, it will start on Sunday night with the welcome. It's being hosted by the Spain Chamber of Commerce. We may have the Queen of Spain speaking, the Barcelona Chamber, IESE Business School, that's IESE. It's an MBA business school in Spain. They have also campuses around the world. And CaixaBank, which is one of the major banks there in Spain. So it's very exciting. I'll post the link in the chat room. If you want to take a look, you want to consider attending, please just go ahead and register. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, I'll have my email as well. So that's pretty much who I am and who IWEC is. And we look forward to learning more about OWIT Brussels and connecting with all of you. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you all.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And I have to say, when you send an email, Nancy is responding within less than 24 hours. I don't know how you can manage everything, but it's very impressive. So thank you so much. I would love to move to the Brussels chapter and then open up so we can connect, unless we have a burning question that we want to ask Nancy. Otherwise, we're getting off track with our fantastic program. Obviously, initially, it started out with the Brussels chapter. And I just want to make sure that when we have those connect, learn, and share, we also want to support the young chapters, right? So I want to know how this all started. And I know Ines, Myra, and Jennifer, they're so passionate. When I spoke to them first, I was like, wow, we need to support those excellent women. Jennifer, do you want to start? I read off your bio and there's so much to share, right? So she speaks 6 languages, Danish, Italian, parents born in Belgium, but also lived in Egypt, Italy, Spain, Costa Rica, and Paraguay. Studies she's Danish section of European School in Brussels, followed by a diploma in jewelry and jewelry design in Florence, Italy, bachelor's in marketing and master's in human resources. And then 15 years of international business development between Europe, Canada, Latin America, USA, and India for private companies, international programs and government institutions, organizations of trade, mission, and international business agendas. And now the interesting stuff that I love. Founded a company in healthy chocolate, the Good Chocolate Company, responsible for the corporate relations for the bilateral trade chamber. I cannot say that. Eurocen, you're probably, she has to tell us, right? Founder of OWIT Brussels. So welcome, Jennifer. Thank
you very much. You've done a lot of homework around the different topics. Thank you very much. It's an honor actually to be able to present OWIT Brussels. And you asked me a question about how the idea of opening OWIT Brussels came up. And I must thank actually the Canadian Embassy in Brussels, who asked me for various 8 years in a row to take care of the women's delegations. They invest a lot in supporting women exporting. And through that, OWIT Toronto actually came to me, Susan Baca, and asked me if a study on how it was to do business as a Canadian woman for Belgium and France. And also she put the seed about no OWIT chapter had been created in the European Union, and Brussels was the right place, and that we should do it. In the beginning, it took me 2 years to take the courage to actually add something to my plate, because there's a lot to do, and we wanted to do it right. And it's true that it's a big challenge because we all have parallel jobs on the side. And right now I took up the direction of an IT company that makes tailor-made platforms and manages big data. So that was also a big challenge simultaneously. So this is a story for OWIT Brussels, and it was created actually in May 2021. But the official launch was set on the 13th of January this year. And this year we focused on creating notoriety. So we made some major events, like the first one, it should have been at the Canadian Embassy, but we were limited to 30 persons, and we had 147 subscribed, so we passed it online. And we had invited Isabelle Durand, which was a former vice prime minister in Belgium, and she's now the deputy secretary general of the UNCTAD in Geneva. We had the director for UN Women in Brussels. For the next event, it was the one in Geneva. And we had trade commissioners. So we tried to get some high-level speakers to attract, let's say, the attention. The second event, we did it together with OWIT London and OWIT Geneva. So we made a form of a European continent. We're not allowed to say European Union, as Geneva, Switzerland is not in the Union. And unfortunately, the UK left us, not in their heart, but legally. So we decided to also make a form of a European collaboration. We did a third event, which was really an IP. And there it was a physical event, more on training. So you have to know the different chapters are allowed to be quite independent in their management and to adapt to the local necessities. So a chapter like New York has existed for longer and understands the needs of their local members somehow. And Brussels was looking for the right way to respond to the market demand, if I can say like that. And so we are setting up let's say, the real differentiation elements, or how we will work from 2023. But we do have some main points, which is respond to the members' needs, allow if there's an OWIT person from from another OWIT chapter that travels to Europe. For example, we had a lady from OWIT New York who's managing, who's working with FedEx, who came to Brussels this week, and a meeting was set up. Now, sometimes we're not there if we're not available on the moment, but the connection is created and we can link them to other contacts locally. So this is really the, let's say, one-to-one response. We try to create the right tools. And right now we are focusing also on real projects, like setting up a support. Ines will go maybe a bit more into depth with that, but we identified that there are a lot of international women in Brussels, and sometimes they do not have the right connections here, and they would be able to export more Belgian products or European products, if they're from outside of Europe, to their home countries. And so we are looking into creating a program that can really respond to this specific group right now. So it is really trying to make a tailor-made model in function of the local necessities, if I'm responding clearly somehow to the question. And I would like to introduce, actually, Mayra just came in with us. She's one of the latest board members, and she has been the policy trade advisor for Solvay Chemicals, which is one of our major companies in Belgium, actually. But Mayra, you can tell more about Solvay, I guess. Mayra is of Brazilian origin, but has been living here for various years. And I would leave the floor to you to present yourself, and then we can have an Ines. Ines was one of the founding members together with me last year, but as said, the challenge is also to create a team that has all the different expertise. And we see that Brussels is a place with a lot of policies, so there's an interest to be able to somehow have some advocacy towards the different institutions that are locally based. Floor is yours, Mayra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And it's a pleasure to be joining all of you today. So representing the OWIT Brussels, the baby chapter. So indeed, I'm originally Brazilian, and I have been living in Belgium for over 15 years. And I have always worked in customs and trade compliance, and then the past 5 years more direct into trade policy. And then as we've seen, for example, in Washington, DC, and then Brussels is really like the heart when you talk about policy, lobbying, advocacy, and so on. So we do have like an existing informal group of women in trade in Brussels, but it was very much focused only on policy. And then, in fact, when I met Jennifer, and then she mentioned that she had just launched OWIT Brussels, I really loved the idea. And then the differentiator, what you see there is also like the profile indeed, as Jennifer was just saying, is like more like the entrepreneurs, the women entrepreneurs or business developers, a little bit different than only focus on the policy side. And I think this is very rich, actually. Because even in order to make policy or trying to shape policies, me coming from the industry, because that's where I work most of my life in private sector, we need to understand what is happening on the day-to-day basis of that entrepreneur, of that business, of that company. What are the challenges that they're facing? And then in order indeed to shape policies and so on. So I really love the idea, and I was happy to join it. So as Jennifer was saying, we have a lot of work ahead, a lot of ideas we want to put forward. And there's a lot of, of course, challenge because we combine our daily works. For my side, I have been working for Solvay till April. And then I have decided to take a break. And then I'm currently now in a career transition. So redefining my next step. And then I believe as of September, I'll be back again. But I also think it's something important to highlight. As it happens to me, maybe also happen to other women, sometimes it's good to step back and then rethink what is our purpose, what we want next. So I'm right now in that moment and really, really happy to be here and join you here today. So if there are any questions, Jennifer or anyone else, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and happy to have you and enjoy your sabbatical, as they call it, right? We also, I think sometimes when we step back, we feel like we need to do something. It can also be enjoy the summer. I know the summer is very nice in Europe, and they have had a very hot summer, I hear from my family. And we have Ines. Ines is one of the founding.
Opens, I just wanted to add one point.
Yeah.
If some of you want to come to Brussels, have a business that you would like to set forward, or if it is something where you need a place to create a small event around something, we do have a space that we can put available for you. So you can sit down and work quietly, but also it can take up to 130 persons. So if you have some sign, if your activities, for example, we discussed about ladies who have coaching, and maybe we try to see how Brussels is, and we can create an event around that. If somebody is in, let's say, a legal subject that touches, we discussed about the TTC. If you want to make a discussion group, these are the kind of things where we might be able to be concrete in the support that we give. We can do it online, but if you would like to make it physically once you're in Brussels, do something around it, just reach out, and then I'll stop talking. Voila.
Let's make it happen in October, right? So Jennifer and I, obviously, when whoever is talking to me, we're like, let's make something happen, and let's make something happen. So we have Ines coming on, and she is one of the founding members, but she was very modest. She has been teaching tax law procedures for 25 years, and she has developed a strong interest for alternative and sustainable financing schemes, advising enterprises and banks. So I think we have Lin Chang also with us, so I think they should be connecting, but very happy to have you, Ines. It's all yours. We want to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for organizing this event. I am personally, as a lawyer, I have a very different approach, usually because as a tax lawyer and very interested with finance, I am more on the logistical side to help on the legal aspects, all the problems which are, businesses are encountering. As a business lawyer for a long time, which I'm still, I noticed our clients were men, and the level of business in trade in Brussels was which is starting to move a lot now. There is lots of effort in Brussels, which is done to promote women to work in the business and various levels, at the regional level, federal level, at the European level, to really encourage this. Probably Brussels or Belgium was still very conservative, I would say, area in terms of business. And there is also a particularity in Brussels is that we have a very high number of people of foreign origin, and which is the highest as a capital in the world after Dubai. And there is a huge of various backgrounds, percentage of people who have strong connections with their country of origin and who are very happy to develop business, to develop trade. And my job is more to help them that it takes form, it takes a shape, because Belgium is a very, I would say, has lots of administration, lots of rules, lots of regulations, how to do that, where to go, how to structure it on the middle, on the short, middle, and the long run. So this is more, and Brussels is very interesting because we have a very vivid, it's kind of a new movement starting to develop more and more than, we are a bit younger, we are baby at various levels in terms of our existence, but also about this, how to say, this movement. So I'm very happy to be able to help and to draw the attention of a certain tax is very high in Belgium. And does not mean that there are no big loopholes that we can benefit and we can enjoy. That's my job. And so I have personally, it is really important because when the start is well done, after that, the future is a bit brighter than to confront legal problems after a few years of existence because it was overlooked, not well looked after, etc. So I am more a bit, as I said, a bit on the logistic side, and I'm very happy to help Jennifer and the other member of the group to organize events, to be there, to offer my help, and to discuss with her, because as founding member, we are, as I said, the environment, the legal environment in Belgium is quite strict. So it's good to have always someone on the side to really discuss about this and to really deal with this aspect without really mixing with the activities and the real content activities of the association. So I'm not always very seen or very active up front, but I am usually there on the back whenever I can. So because I continue my my practice of law firm, and then to help as much as I can for that. So I don't know if I made the more or less presentation of what I am doing and what is my role in. And I'm very happy to meet all of you, and I hope to meet in present also in all a few places to meet to offer.
Thank you so much. And we all need people in the background who offer the logistics and the legal advice. I think sometimes when we see people speaking or whatever, they're in the foreground, but we also need to have those people who are our backbone. So thank you so much for helping. And now we want to open up for everybody who is here, who has some questions or wants to introduce themselves. I think this should be also opening up more connections. And I want to say something to Gary. I know we had a great event yesterday with Ling Chang talking about financing and lending. And Gary posted on LinkedIn and said, like, everybody needs to be involved in this. And I connected with him and I said, hey, we have an event today. And here he is. So thank you so much. We see the LinkedIn connection are happening even overnight. So thank you so much. Maybe Ling, can I just point to you? You have given a wonderful presentation yesterday. And I think everybody needs to hear. You have a 2-minute quick presentation and update so we can learn from you. But obviously, whoever has a question should speak up now. And you're still muted, Ling. Okay.
Sorry about that. I was using my iPad.
Oh.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm a member of the New York City chapter of OWIT, and I had the opportunity to present an educational seminar about financing for your importing business. There have been a lot of educational events focusing on exporting from the United States, which is wonderful, because there's the US government agency, the Export-Import Bank, that work with the banks to help US businesses exporting to other countries around the world. So the talk I did yesterday was focusing on the importing business, where there's not much government help. But as you know, 95% of the supply chain, at least in the United States, come from overseas somehow. So, and as you saw, is that every kind of businesses, whether you are a manufacturer, importer, wholesaler, distributor, service provider, you are always in the middle of some kind of working capital. When you receive a purchase order from a large customer, a company, and then you either produce the goods yourself, or you engage your vendor, your subcontractor, or your overseas producer to ship the products to you. There's always a gap in issuing the invoice and collecting the revenue. So that's where the working capital financing helps you to bridge that gap. And it's not a debt, and it doesn't take any equity. It's augmenting what you're doing with your bank. So it's a great tool that can be leveraged when you're growing your business. So think about when you can take on additional businesses, go into a new market. So that's the kind of tool that I was hoping that can make more people aware of it, so that they can be bold, that they can, not be afraid, go out there to go after big deals, going to more customers, because they know they have these tools that they can leverage.
Wonderful, good. And if you follow the chat, Dr. Z, she is the CEO of the ETSNAPS organization. They're focusing on STEM education. And Ling Chang was just interviewed for their e-magazine by one of the next generation entrepreneurial STEAM women. So I think being a member of OWIT, you connect with others. And I know Dr. C, she is fantastic with making all those connections between her and I. We send emails, hey, check this person, check this person. I think this is how a connection and a collaboration should be had, right? Okay, anybody else? I saw somebody posted something, they're moving from a place to New York. I don't know if they are present, and if they maybe want to say something, they certainly would like to welcome you and want to know in what kind of line of business you are.
Hi, everyone.
Oh,
It's
that's
me.
you. Okay, thank you. Good, Cheryl, yes.
Hi, Kathy. I actually know about this organization from Kathy, so thank you.
Good. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, good to join. I'll actually be a student. I don't have a business yet, but I'll be studying in New York, and I'll be moving in September. So I currently work as a research analyst in Singapore, but then I'll be doing my master's studies at Columbia. So
Okay.
happy to connect when I'm there.
Okay, let us know and connect with us, right? So you have all the information in the chat. Make sure you save the chat and connect.
Thank you. Excited to join.
Okay, good. So we have, yes.
Susanna, it's Nancy.
Okay.
Can I
Go
just
ahead.
say, we wish you well on your trip over here, Cheryl, and I'm sure you know that you've got a bunch of sisters here. So make sure you keep all of our contact information and start with your OWIT sisters, and it will be very great to see you here and watch you grow. I also wanted to say that one of our past awardees is on the call, Lenny Schwindinger. Lenny, you want to just say hi? I don't know if you all know Lenny, but she's got a fantastic company she can tell you about very quickly. And one of the things that I wanted to ask Lenny, because you are offering your services on a global basis, I mean, what's the biggest challenge for you in really reaching out and trying to get your services to other countries?
Mm-hmm. You know, can you hear me well, everyone, without headsets? Okay, great. I've been focusing on global, providing global services pretty much all my life. I'm just an internationalist in all senses of the world. Of the word. I live part-time in London. And what do I do, however? I am a lighting designer for cities. So I'm all about inclusive, safe, inspiring cities at night, and how we can create better places and ways to traverse the nighttime environment in the evening for people schlepping groceries and baby carriages, for people doing essential services all night, riding bikes, driving, medical, and to create better environments, from lighting to streetscape redesign, creating navigationable cities, walkable cities. So I'm a little different. I don't export any things and I don't buy any things. My work is a service. I've been doing it for more than 20 years. And so the challenge is really, you know, even though I live in London part-time, it's not that easy to get work there. I'm building it, but I do find that it's difficult if you don't reside in a place to do steady work. Now I do a program called Night Seeing, which you might be interested in, which is guiding people walking at night to realize and envision the future of night and lighting. Now this program I do internationally, that's easy enough. That's a program to envision the future of night with communities. So the other part of my practice is incorporating communities and stakeholders into co-design of light and nighttime possibilities. So that is my best global contribution, but I would like to do more international lighting design for bridges, landscapes, parks, and streets.
I think Lenny's particularly of interest because it's quite an unusual business. So, and that's why the challenges that you mentioned, Lenny, and just getting people's eyes and ears to take a look at this. And of course, then it also involves not only the private sector, but it involves the public sector when you have to then get governments and so forth involved. So I know that is a challenge. And I also noticed that Noreen just put something in the chat room as well. Suzanne, I don't know if you...
Yes, I wanted to address that. Yeah, please, Noreen.
I wanted to make sure you saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you. And Noreen, thank you so much for multitasking. I know you said you were in 2 conferences.
No, I finished.
But you make time for us. We're very honored to have you. Yes, go ahead.
Well, so I missed certain parts of it, but you're talking about how to
challenges we're facing. So I'm speaking here as an entrepreneur. So I run my own company doing marketing, communications, and strategy. And over the last few years, we've also been doing a lot of strategy coming through in the gender economic empowerment side. So working with companies in terms of increasing number of gender programs within it. And so far, that's still very much in a baby stage, but some of the challenges we find is actually when we're working with companies internationally, it's actually sometimes on the delivery. So we tend to collaborate with other companies, and we like building networks so that we can bring them in to help us deliver if we find we need more assistance. So our creative team is actually based in Milan. And we also deliver work in Malta and across Europe, and we have clients that are also based in the US. So for a small little consultancy, we punch very much above our weight, and we like to be involved in a lot of things. And it's fun. I mean, for me, collaboration is the key, because that's the way we both scale ourselves up quickly to be able to go in for some projects. So we are a We Connect company. So sometimes we actually invite other businesses to come in with us, especially when we're tendering. So it's always good to know companies who work abroad and get to know them before we have to go in and tender, so that then we know and have confidence in the network that we're working with. So I'm sure that's the way most other companies work as well, actually.
Yeah, thank you. I always say my team is me, myself, and I, right? So I have a big team. But I also want to give a shout out to the Brussels chapter and the UK chapter, and I know it was Geneva as well. If you ever see that they have an event, please make sure you take the time. I signed up for an event and I was like, oh, I'll have half an hour. I was glued to my computer for 2 hours. They had such great speakers inside. So sometimes we are inundated with information, but I feel like we can all take 45 minutes, an hour to learn. I feel like I learned so much between yesterday and today, and just to connect. So this also refuels us, thinking about Myra, who is on the sabbatical, learning and growing with others. It's about learning something totally different.
I have a small request now that we have everybody here.
Yeah.
I've been asked, and I didn't know if I should say yes, to make a program for a Chamber of Commerce here in Brussels on exports to the US. And it was Yuling that opened up the idea that I could actually have a shout out here. My opinion is, as others said, you don't export services, and there I would like to go to Lenny. You can export what you do, and I think that there are a lot of cities that would need it. And parentheses a bit open still. Brussels, I love Brussels by night because of its light. I loved Costa Rica, but it was dark at night, so I was never out at night. And it was because the darkness as a woman would also make me feel unsafe. Not only for humans, but there were all other sorts of animals you could cross. But light is important, and as a half Dane, light makes all the atmosphere of a place, inside or outside. And I do think you can export that, but you have to make communities, like, how do you say, city halls, would you say that in English, aware that they could actually make a tender to open up for what you do, because they can change their whole let's say the whole atmosphere of the territory they're guiding by doing a correct lighting. But I go back to I've closed the parentheses. If I can find at least 8 events I can make around how to export to the US, being it how to create a business in the US, how to choose your accountant, how to go through the distribution of food. I mean, depending on who would be attending this, but usually from Belgium, you have food, you have IT and technology, and you can have textile, and you can have design. These are more or less let's say, the subjects that I usually, but I had somebody, for example, that is creating a television channel in the US, somebody else that needs to install a company that needs to be in a place where there's a lot of need for water. So there can be different subjects, but this is for me a reach out to any OWIT US chapters that if I can within the year create such a pool of persons that could be online, because I don't believe that you do business, or that I can explain to somebody how to do business in the US, though I exported chocolate to the US. Things change, and my business, my line is different than having a US eye from it. And even if somebody can't answer it, being there, somebody might tilt and say, you have to talk with this person or this person. So I close my let's say the line. I just
your ask and your thought, right? And planting the seeds. I think that's also important. Planting the seeds, yeah.
Planting a seed, yeah, that was it. Perfect.
Wonderful, good. And I saw Kathy had her hand up. Kathy is the president of OWIT New York.
Hello, everyone. Wonderful to see everyone. And I was going to mention something about roles, which I will mention, but in reply to your question, Jennifer, I will throw out there in case others have opinions about this. If you mentioned 8 programs, one way to do it is to reach out to the OWIT chapters, because each of them has their relationships on the ground. Some of us have relationships with various local, state, and federal development offices. So we in New York have those. So we could put together possibly a program for us in Greater New York. They can do that out in California, et cetera. And some of us do that anyway. And it can be focused either on an industry or just general help, how to start businesses, et cetera, importing, exporting. So if each chapter partnered with you, you would also learn their ups and downs and challenges, as well as the content. So that might get you through 8. You know, Suzanne has had pros and cons of working on these programs, so you can pick her brain for what goes well and smoothly, and who might be most interested. But that's one of my reactions. And that way you involve the public and private sectors and get various resources for these potential companies or entrepreneurs. What I was going to mention, and I just wanted to let you know, and I'm just going to put one more link in the chat box, and that is I've heard a lot about roles. And I want to let you know that, yes, the New York chapter has been around for a long time, and that's because sometimes it was more quiet than others and sometimes more robust than others. Sometimes it was a lot of lawyers, tax lawyers, trade lawyers, sometimes customs brokers. So we do go through various roles as chapters and also in our lives. And so I just wanted to mention that as you're growing, it's wonderful to have the people behind the scenes. It's wonderful to have the students with their energy and thoughts and ideas. So you don't have to have everything all planned out and know your business plans or what the future will be. And we get energy from the students. And also, I just wanted to mention that we have, of course, had the leadership of people maybe who have come from other OWIT chapters and been part of the OWIT network for maybe 15 years. And we get them in New York for just a couple of those years. So there's a lot that goes on with various roles. So don't feel that you need to dive in and become a full-time board member or something like that. There are lots of roles for everybody, even just to be on the newsletter and hear what's going on. So with that, I am very pleased that we had Nancy here with the IWEC Foundation, which is our very newest partner. We also have a very long-standing partnership with the New York City Fair Trade Coalition, and we are going to join them for a sustainable summer soiree in person in New York, July 21st. That's the last link I'm going to put in there. And that's, again, we like to have fun as well as talk trade and everything else. So that's what I had to say. And again, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, so the soiree is the 21st of July, and it looks like it's on a very cool place. And if you also go and see the Sustainable New York Fair Trade Coalition, and I always say Angela because I have a friend, her name is Angela Santillo, so I always combine the names. Andrea Reyes, she has a very cool store, and you can actually bring your clothes and swap. So you can bring stuff and get new stuff. So that's how you can get a new wardrobe. And Dr. Z, Suzanne Kappendijk.
Yes, we are gonna take our students for a field trip in the summer program, the Sustainable Energy Program. We're gonna take them to the store, and they are gonna get some outfits. We're gonna help her select the clothes. We're doing that in the beginning of the week, so they have piles of clothes there for the sustainability. So I'm all in favor, and I saw that the event is in the evening, so our day is wrapping up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I'll see if I can make it to the in-person soiree because I'm very happy with that one. So thank you for organizing that one. And thank you, Kathy, for mentioning that one and putting the link in there. So I will be happy, and I'm gonna look forward to see some of you in person.
Yeah. And you have your website in the chat as well? It's at snaps.org.
I'll put it in. Thank you.
Yeah, very important. So we have only a few more minutes. I'm just so happy that I always say whoever is here was meant to be here, and to start a collaboration. This should be only a beginning of a talk, not just a 1 hour talk. Maybe Jennifer, one final thought, seeds that you want to plant, or Myra and Ines, but thank you so much. And certainly Nancy for being here. It's just exciting and enlightening and uplifting.
Myra, do you want to give a last word? Because I talk a lot, so I took already all the space.
I know you like to talk, Jennifer. Well, no, I mean, I think it has been very enriching, and then again, has been really nice to join you, especially for me. I have just joined recently the chapter, and I mean, I think it's great because, for example, I'm thinking maybe second semester will be in US, probably going to New York as well. I'm like, okay, so now I know who to contact, who to be in touch while being there. So I think I really believe in the power of a network, and I think that's what it's about, especially nowadays. I mean, when you're talking about collaboration, is really needed in today's world for everything that is happening around us and the certainty around business and so on. And I really think the power of network is good for that, and I'm glad to be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Ines?
Ines, you want to add something?
You have to unmute, yeah.
No, my connection is a bit unstable. So I have a bit of a problem. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, no, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody. I'm very happy now. I see faces. We could interact. I've heard very interesting things, and I'm very happy to see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Good. And I want to say the international conference is in Geneva. So the dates are September 29, 30. And I think Julia, she wants to organize something on Sunday, going on a boat or just enjoy the Lake Geneva region. So whoever is in Europe, it's actually very easy. But I'm originally from Switzerland, so I want to make the trip so I can also see my family, and then hopefully join the Brussels chapter with a cool event. So,
and I'll be coming down to Geneva.
Oh, wonderful. So good. Okay. Yeah. And good. We usually have those connect, learn, and share events every other month. I was planning to have one in September. It might be, I don't know, Noreen and I were just emailing. Maybe we are going to invite the UK chapter, because we will be in Geneva on the 29th of September when it was initially planned. So maybe we kick off something new early September. It's in the planning, but I hope everybody has a wonderful summer. Everybody can join in person. Be safe, and I'll stop the recording. But we are also on Instagram, YouTube, and on LinkedIn. So follow us and make sure that we're all connected. So thank you so much.
And thank you to you, Suzanne, for the initiative of this kind of event for OWIT.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.